going on, Jerome's? So, of course, we are enjoying the 11-2 season and slinging Sammy Darnold looking like an MVP adjacent type player, and it's been a ton of fun. And also, it's great seeing Darnold resurrect his career and exorcise the demons, and looking like he's going to get paid in the shade, whether it's here or somewhere else, right? But the main question right now is, well, number one, yes, we are enjoying the rest of the season, but will Sam Darnold be back? Because you do have J.J. McCarthy in your back pocket, highest drafted quarterback in team history. And, of course, Kwesi, Moneyball strategy. Starting quarterback on his rookie deal is a huge competitive advantage, especially since the Vikings took a bunch of dead cap hits on the chin this year in a rebuilding year. Again, 11-2, not bad in a rebuilding season. But calculus can change sometimes. And if Darnold is legitimately playing like a top 5 quarterback in this specific system, I mean, what else do you want? Right. And also, if you feel like you can win a Super Bowl with Darnold within the next 2-3 years, do you roll with him? Don't know. Don't know, right? So we'll see what happens in Moneyball this offseason. And Kevin O'Connell, Kwesi do have a tough decision to make. And frankly, I kind of like the prospects either way. Darnold's looking good. J.J. McCarthy has all the potential in the world. If Darnold does leave, Danny Dimes, maybe he takes 2022 Geno, 2023 Baker, 2024 Darnold, 2025 Danny Dimes, but as the backup to J.J. McCarthy, right? So there's lots of options, and of course, the elefante in the room is that the Vikings a little bit bereft of draft picks through various trades up and down the draft, going and getting Diamond Dallas Turner, etc. But also the Vikings are projected to have at least a third-round comp pick. So, I mean, that takes a little bit of sting out of it. But I understand, like, if Darnold leaves in free agency, signs somewhere else, the Vikings would get credit for a compensatory pick in 2026, but don't want to wait that long. Also, the Vikings look to be players in free agency, especially if they don't re-sign or tag Sam Darnold. So that could be a moot point in that spot. But it's my draft picks, and I want them now. And there is ways that the Vikings can do that. So we want to walk through a couple of the options, right? Specifically with regards to the franchise tag, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there. We just want to clarify a lot of things that's going on. So first up, other Darnold options outside the franchise tag. So long-term deal, yes. I think that could be on the table. I think it's a little bit unlikely, right? Unless outside of Darnold leading the Vikings to a Super Bowl or a Super Bowl win, I don't see them plopping down a 3 or 4 year deal. I just don't see it right now. They could let him walk in free agency being like, it's been real, it's been fun, it's been real fun, and go from there. And then they get that credit for 2026 comp pick. I don't see that happening, right? Especially since the Vikings are in a great catbird seat with all the leverage right now and the Vikings do have the leverage. So if the Vikings want Sam Darnold to be here in 2025, he will be here. Right, because they have the options with the franchise tag. They have the cap space. They can weather the storm if they want to. They do have J.J. McCarthy in their back pocket, so they can work out a trade for Darnold, no muss, no fuss. And also, there is going to be a high demand for Sam Darnold, since there's no other free agent quarterbacks of his caliber and this draft class in terms of high-end quarterback play. So Darnold, I mean, also given his age, he's only going to be 28, and the season he's putting up this year, there's going to be a lot of suitors out there for Sam Darnold, and the Vikings could leverage that into 2025 draft capital using the tag and trade. But the options, so keeping Sam on the franchise tag. Now, this would be a little bit unpalatable since you do have to take the entire cap hit in 2025. So it's a 1 year deal, fully guaranteed, average of the top 5 salaries of the position, yada, yada, yada. And it's 38.3. It was 38.3 in 2024, projected to be 41 million plus in 2025. And also, if you're tagged for a second year in a row, you get a 20% raise, but that's also unlikely, right? The Vikings are projected to have 72 million in cap space in 2025. So even though you do have to take the entire blunt force trauma of that contract in 1 year, the Vikings could certainly work around that. They could restructure some contracts. Also, the free agents that they do sign in 2025 offseason could be the major cap hits kick the can down the road to be able to accommodate the franchise tag. So there's tons of flexibility. Trust Kwesi and Rob Brzezinski, etc. So there is a 2 year 2-week tagging window, usually late February to early March before the start of free agency, where the franchise tag is applied. Now, the tag does not count against the cap until the franchise tag is signed by the player. Also, the team can rescind the tag at any point if it's not signed. Doesn't matter if it's March, doesn't matter if it's June, doesn't matter if it's wherever, right? As long as that franchise tag isn't signed, the team can just be like, yoink, and then the player's a free agent. That happened with the Panthers and Josh Norman a couple years ago. Right? So if the Vikings do indeed want to keep Darnold on a 1-year deal, this would be the mechanism for them to get to. And we're not getting into a non-exclusive or exclusive franchise tag. It's like, because it's so stupid. Like, remember before Lamar got his big deal with the Ravens when they put the franchise tag on him initially? Now, you can franchise tag a player, and then you'll have until July 15th to work out a long-term extension. That's exactly what Lamar and the Ravens did. But since he was on the non-exclusive one, it was like, 2 first-round picks, and you get Lamar Jackson. That was never going to happen because absent the poison pill deals of 2006, Steve Hutchinson, Nate Burleson, any offer that a team would make on Lamar, the Ravens would match or do better. Right, so basically, they were using the franchise tag as an instrument of negotiation with Lamar Jackson. That's what that was. So it was so stupid. It's like, why wouldn't the Falcons give up 2 first-round picks for Lamar Jackson? Because it was never going to happen. So stupid. Anyways, second up is the tag and trade option. So this is the one that has been bandied about mainly by us, because it would allow the Vikings to get immediate draft capital in 2025. Also, it's more valuable in future draft capital because A, it's earlier, also B, you know exactly where the pick is going to be, as opposed to future draft picks. There's tons of variables. Sometimes you hit the jackpot, like the Bears did with the Panthers, although they're just working, or the draft pick goes down. But the mechanism. So Vikings tag Sam Darnold during that 2-week window. They shop around for trade offers. Now, Quayce is doing his job. He's already gauged interest from teams way before that. Way before the tag window comes into place. So whether it'd be so funny if the Jets, the Jets, the Giants, the Titans, the Colts, the Raiders, the Saints, teams looking for quarterback help. There's going to be a lot of needy teams out there. And like we said, there's no real free agents that are of Darnold's caliber, and it really is a 2-quarterback class right now, depending on what happens with Milroe and maybe Nussmeier, right? Estimated compensation. So you're not going to get the 2 first-rounders, right? But could you get a first out of the deal? Yes. I think that's certainly possible and plausible. And we've outlined our dream scenario where it works out for everyone. Stafford retires for the Rams. Vikings tag and trade Darnold to Los Angeles, his hometown, Southern California kid, conquering hero, the pride of USC, and goes and runs a similar offense with Sean McVay and the Rams. Also has Puka, which is going to be great. The Vikings get the Rams' first-round pick. I feel like that works out for all parties involved. Now, obviously, some people said, like, well, this is doing Sam Darnold dirty, trading him to a team he doesn't want to go to. No, that would be stupid. Why would a bad team that Darnold doesn't want to go to, why would they ever trade for him, right? Because part and parcel, a part of the trade would be Darnold signing a long-term deal with his new team, right? So Darnold obviously would have some input on this, right? Also, the Vikings would be trading Darnold to an agreeable team, long-term deal. Now, the player would not sign the tag right away. So that is where a wrench could be thrown into the mechanism, where if you do, because a lot of people have voiced concern about, like, well, if you franchise him, but no one wants to trade for him, and then you just have him, that doesn't really operate like that, because a player has literally no incentive to sign the tag right away. So Darnold wants a long-term deal with heavy guarantees. The franchise tag, it's a compromise. It's kind of nice, but it's not nice, right? So he has zero goose egg D'Angelo Russell incentive to sign that tag right away. All right, because the Vikings, like I said, have tons of leverage because they could franchise him, they could ride with him, they could go with McCarthy, they could tag and trade. Like, it really is, the Vikings have maximum flexibility. Quayce's done a fantastic job making tons of chess moves, giving the Vikings flexibility and leeway here, right? So the player would not sign the tag right away. He wants to keep his options open because that would allow him to be traded and get that long-term deal. But if he signed the tag right away, that definitely limits his options, right? Also, like we said, does not count against the cap until signed, which is great. And also the leverage is the option to keep Darnold because, I mean, if the Vikings don't get the trade offers that they want or the ballpark of what was already negotiated pre-franchise tag window, Kwesi and other GMs, they could just keep Darnold, and they're happy. They could rescind the tag and let him hit free agency, and then they still get compensatory credit pending on the timing of the pull because the compensatory window for free agency closes about a week after the draft, so late April, early May. So depending when they pull that rug out, we'll see. But either way, the Vikings have tons of leverage here. Now, this one is interesting, and I actually think this one is in play. So a 1-year non-franchise tag deal. So you get Darnold to sign a 1-year deal, and I understand people are like, well, he would never sign a 1-year deal. He's never settling for anything less than a multi-year deal. Okay, well, then you're getting tagged. That's literally where the Vikings have the leverage in this spot. So 1-year deal, $35 million plus incentives up to 45. It's kind of similar to what the Packers did with Jordan Love in lieu of a 5th-year option because they still had that the threat of the franchise tag in that spot, so they're able to leverage him into a 1-year prove-it deal. That's basically what they did, and then they made Love the highest-paid quarterback in NFL history. It's looking good. But what's great about this is that it's different than the franchise tag, even if dollars it's similar, is that the Vikings can spread out the cap hits with void years. They can put a lot of this in a signing bonus, a roster bonus, spread out those cap hits up to 5 years. So it would be no muss, no fuss, as opposed to taking 40, 41, 42 million right on the chin in 2025. And that's a lot more palatable to Kwesi, Brzezinski, and the cap. Also, something that you could put in there, and this would be a huge carrot for Darnold, is a no-tag clause in 2026. So plays out this 1-year deal. You cannot franchise him in 2026. So the Vikings, all that leverage about tagging him or tagging and trading him, that goes away. Basically ensures that if Darnold plays well in 2025, he will get that long-term extension in 2026, whether with the Vikings or somewhere else. So that is the carrot that you put in front of him, outside of just threatening to bludgeon him with the franchise tag, right? Because I love Sam Darnold, but the business is a business, right? And also, the Vikings, they would get an extended look at Darnold, and plus they would get an extended look at J.J. McCarthy, by the way. So it also works in the favor of the team in both regards. And then they can decide if they want to roll with them long term, or J.J. McCarthy, knock on all the wood, fully healthy for 2025 in a backup role, and you can see him in practice every single day. You can see him in preseason. You can see him in mop-up duty after the Vikings are up by 50 every single week, and then you can make a more educated decision 1 year down the line. So, frankly, if I had to vote for an outcome, I would vote for this one because it still gives you the maximum flexibility, both in terms of the future of the team, in fairness to Darnold, in fairness to J.J. McCarthy, also in terms of the financial flexibility of spreading out those cap hits and still being major players in free agency. Maybe some running backs, maybe some interior offensive line, maybe some D-line, maybe some corners. Don't know. Don't know. But, dream. So Trey Smith, right guard from the Chiefs, Ryan Kelly, center from the Colts, Osa Odigizua, defensive tackle from the Cowboys, and then DJ Reed, corner from the Jets. Let's go. I just solved everything. That's what I do, man. Anyways, that is it. Just walking through the various options that the Vikings have with the franchise tag, because it's not cut and dried, but overall the Vikings do have a ton of leverage here, and Darnold is going to get paid in somewhere or the other. Bottom line, he's going to make $35-40 million a year for 2025. Now, the question will it be a multi-year deal or will it not be? But we'll see. And if the Vikings do want to recoup a lot of the draft capital in 2025, they can certainly do that. And I think that if the Vikings do end up tagging and trading him, getting a first-round pick, I mean, that would be a fantastic outcome for Kwesi, and frankly, a fantastic outcome for Sam Darnold, where, yes, his new team just gave up a first-round pick for him, and he gets a big-time contract, but he gets that big-time deal, and he's earned it. It's looked really damn good. But let's not put the cart before the horse. Let's go win a Jerome Barty, and then we'll go from there. And then, frankly, if Darnold wins the Super Bowl, I don't care. Just give him the Jordan Love contract. Give him the Jared Goff contract. Give him the Trevor Lawrence contract. I don't care. Give him all the money, and then have the rest of the team be on league minimum. I honestly would not care at that point. That is all. Anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. Franchise tag options with Slinging Sammy Darnold, a.k.a. America's quarterback. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, comment section. You guys know what to do. Skol, production value.